The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Welcome to Screaming Rebels Podcast, episode 14, the ZombieCast.
The zombies,
Well, we sound dead. Welcome, everybody, for people who haven't seen it. This is our 14th episode. We're going to be talking about zombies, mad cows, and cannibals.
Wait, how do you get mad cows and zombies all in the same topic?
Well, that's one of my theories we'll probably go into this conversation a little more about, so let's go ahead and start this bad boy.
Okay, so I'm George Guzman, and this is my co-host,
Hector Gomez.
all right,
Junior.
Before we get started on this, I guess we'll always have different things that we talk about. One of the things I had wanted to talk about was one of the shows that I just recently had.
Was there a zombie in this?
Yeah, I believe there was zombies. Somebody must have ate a mad cow. Because it was...
So their brain was all spongy and
definitely
they were not
was
coherent to the environment that they were around?
Yeah. Well, yesterday we had I was supposed to play at the C.A.F.E info shop in Fresno with Sci-Fi Keeper. We've had a whole bunch of shows.
Where is this cafe info shop?
It's in downtown Fresno. I believe it's off of E Street. It's right by the Chinatown Youth Center.
So we're not trying to promote this place. We're just trying to give a vivid picture of where this horrible scene had arrived, correct?
Yeah. Well, the downtown, the Fresno area is not that great of a place anyways. I mean, every time I go there, I have at least 3 bums that always ask me for money, and it's always something similar.
Is it the same bums that ask you for the same money?
Sometimes not. It just depends. I know that they... One asked me the other day, he said that he needs to buy pants because he got a job at Amtrak. I don't know if he was going to be driving the trains or what, but that's what he said. He goes, I just got a job at Amtrak and I need new black pants.
You know, about bums, the funny thing is I think it's funny when bums put that they were stationed and that they fought for this battalion and that, and then you notice that the battalions are really from Hollywood movies, and those battalions don't really exist. They'll be like, I was from infantry, blah blah blah, and that's actually from Apocalypse Now, and there really is no infantry like that. So, and then they're like 30 in their 30s, yeah. So there's no way they would have been from Vietnam.
Well, I mean, they got to be very creative about what
Yeah.
they do. San Francisco probably has the most creative bums around. I mean, they're renowned, their bums. You know that? You know the Bushman?
Yeah, I know the Bushman.
Okay, and exactly. He even has a sign that says how long he's been doing it. I think he's been doing it like 15 years or something. It's insane.
You know about
they made a career about being bums.
The bums, yeah. And there's a YouTube. I don't know if you sent it to me. I don't know who sent it to me. But there was a YouTube video, and it was this guy documenting himself being a bum. And the guy would...
That wasn't me.
The guy was basically making about $125,000 a year being a bum, because he would do the ratio of... He would wash windows in LA, and when they go up and spray it. And the thing was that he was saying, so say if I get $2 and I wash windows every 5 minutes in an 8-hour day.
Yeah.
So he was collecting money, and what he would do is he would actually go to the Salvation Army, find these raggedy clothes. I'll show you the website. Find these raggedy clothes, dress like a bum. Yeah. He would drive his BMW to work, which would be the corner, and he would park probably like 3 blocks away so they wouldn't see him coming out of the car. But he made a living being a bum.
I can't remember which news station, but one of them did a segment on that in Fresno. I mean, in Fresno, it's really bad because the bums there don't even really care. But there's families even, and they'll station each one of the family members, like one of the kids, in a certain area, and they know which area to put each one, and they're at a different corner each time. So there might be 5 family members all working, so you can imagine what kind of revenue they take in. Like there was one when I was driving down on Shaw and Blackstone, and this kid's on the corner, and he has a sign up asking for money while he has his iPod listening to music, and I'm thinking, how much money do you need? Is this to pay for your Wi-Fi? Because there's free Wi-Fi right there at McDonald's.
And you take a break and want to go play his Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, I really don't understand. I mean, if you're going to be a bum, at least show it. You know?
But some people choose that as a career.
And they do.
It's a tax-free career.
And the really difficult part is because you always feel like a human part of you wants to help. So you want to help the ones that need it. But how do you? And then
how do you know?
Yeah, and in the end, it's like I can't help anybody because in the end, I'll end up being broke.
So people might think, well, how do we get from zombies to bums? Well, bums are kind of like zombies, except wanting brains or asking for change.
Yeah, our booze. Well, we were talking about C.A.F.E Info Shop, and so yesterday we were supposed to have a show. My band members earlier in the week said, "Hey, do you still want to do the show?" And I was like, "Well, we should because the guy promoting it has always been really good to us, but we had a really bad experience last week." And what happened was they put us on for a show, and the headliners were called Creepy Marbles. That kind of should tell you a little bit about them. And I guess they're from Humboldt County. There's 3 guys, and they do this electronic music. It was a really bad experience. I mean, usually when you go, the promoters have everything set up of who's going to play in what spot. I was trying to find out. They never said when we were supposed to go on. So I finally showed up, and I'm like, well, when are we going on? They're like, well, I think we're going on after Restaurant. I said, okay. So Restaurant goes up there. He even introduces us. Okay, next band is Sci-Fi Caper. Stick around. So I set up my drums, and as I set up my drums, this guy just puts like this bench, and he puts a keyboard. And I figure, okay, you know, like a little bit of music in between the bands. And he starts playing. I'm sitting at my drum set, and I'm the only one there. And then I realize, oh, this is the next act. Somehow.
So I went from creepy marbles to creepy drummer in the background.
So yeah, I was in the background for at least his first song, and then finally I get up and I walk away. I think his band's name is Nicole Kidman. don't even ask. That night was really weird. So we're like thinking, okay, so we're going on after Nicole Kidman.
The real Nicole Kidman? Or the band Nicole Kidman?
It's a one-man band. He plays the keyboard.
And it's not Nicole Kidman.
No, and he was very creepy himself. It was just a very strange night. So Creepy Marbles bring in their stuff. Well, we already have our stuff set up. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, they just want to get ready. That's what the promoter said. You know, his name is Ryan. He's the guitarist and singer for Cabin Fire. And he said, well, they're setting up so this way, you know, as soon as one band is done, the other one can just jump right on. And that's what we all kind of thought. All right, that sounds cool. And then all of a sudden, they just start playing. They just start playing music. And then we're like, okay, so the same thing kind of happened. And within their first song, they started playing, and they turn off all the lights, and all they have is like these red, you know, bright red lights, you know, and you know, so you can imagine it already has this very ominous,
the
you know,
Sergio Argento style.
Yes, you know, very satanic, you know, theme. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone brought out a goat head and just threw it on the table as they were playing. And they're playing this electronic music, and it's just like house or whatever, and it sounds okay. I'm thinking, all right, this sounds all right. And one of the guys is in a dress, and the promoter goes, you know, at the very beginning, he's like, everybody get up, come on, he's even wearing a dress. So I'm thinking, all right, well, whatever, you know, I mean, it's not that bad, isn't it? It's just a dress. And then all of a sudden, one of the other guys comes up to him and starts doing this weird thing of like massaging him while he's on the ground or something. And then all of a sudden, the dude rips the dress off, and there's nothing under the dress. So now we have this completely naked guy who's on the floor, and he has this gallon of water, and he puts like a puddle of water on the floor, and he's splashing in the water, and so I'm splashing water on himself. Now they were already getting high in the parking lot. Remember I said earlier, they're from Humboldt County.
So they're getting their 420 on.
So they definitely were getting their 420 on, and it seemed like the only thing I can imagine is that this guy's also probably dropping some tablets of E or something, yeah. Because he's all over the place. I mean, he's running and frolicking.
Well, him just playing in a puddle of water kind of says it all right there.
Yeah, like and he acted like he was, you know, really into the puddle of water. Like, oh my God, like this is the best. And so at this point, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to see this anymore.
So is he a singer or what was he?
No, they had one guy that was, I guess, attempting to sing, but he had a bunch of effects on his voice. But that wasn't him. No, this guy was just pushing buttons like the rest of them. Well, he only pushed buttons in the beginning. The rest of the time, he's just kind of running around naked and jumping and frolicking. I mean, it was like a real bad acid trip, I guess. You know, I mean, I really just felt like I was in a horror movie, and that any second, you know, people were gonna let us know, like, we brought you here to kill you and eat you, you know. And so it felt like
sacrifice the virgins.
We definitely were in a cannibalistic scene. So I was also there with my girlfriend, and that made it really uncomfortable. And I just said, I'm out of here. And she was like, yeah, me too. We're done. So we took off, and that left a really bad taste in our mouths. The crazy part is, I filmed the first. I always like to film the bands that come from out of town. So at one point, I guess I turned my head away, kind of blocked out what was going on. You know, really was trying to block out the memory. But I guess I recorded like the first parts of it. and then I stopped it.
Okay, so the thing is, like, we believe in freedom of art and everything else, but the thing that you left out is that this place is not like
That's right.
a 21 or older
not.
show.
Yeah, I completely forgot to mention that. So this is an all ages show. So I don't remember if there was any minors specifically. I know that there's like kids there that are 18, but this is an all ages. Someone can show up and be 10 years old, and they can walk them. There's not supposed to be no drugs, no nothing like that. Now, this is something, okay, you want to be artistic, whatever. This is something that you would have to get, everybody to sign a contract saying, hey, there's going to be nudity in this show.
At least a warning.
Yeah, and not only that, you have to get, because it reminds me back in the day of like G.G. Allen. I don't know if do you know G.G. Allen? Okay, he's this old punk guy, and he was famous not for his music, but the crazy stuff he would do on stage. And there would be stories of him getting microphones and shoving it up his ass and doing these crazy things. But before you went to one of his shows, you had to sign the waiver because you could sue him for the things he was doing on stage. So everybody who went in was like, no, if you don't sign this, like basically a waiver saying like you absolve him of anything that happens if he decides to defecate and fling it like a monkey on stage, you can't get him busted for it. Like R. Kelly. R. Kelly should have had that person sign a waiver, the little girl. And then they wouldn't have got him in trouble for peeing on her.
Yeah, but then there's an age thing too.
Oh yeah, that was an age thing. So that's what, and the thing that gets me.
So we can almost say that this guy was pulling an R. Kelly on everybody.
It was. I mean, at some points I remember when I came back, because I had to get my drum sets since they were set up in the back, everybody was like, well, we hope that was water. I mean, because there was no guarantee with these people what it was. Not only that, but... what really, kind of gets to me too is there was another venue that was the Bell Tower. We played there a lot, and that place got shut down. And it's kind of like these kids were putting on these clubs, and they're really trying to keep it going. To keep music going. Like they wanted to be creative, and they don't want it to be where you have to go to a bar or pay in or anything like that. And it's really cool vibes and everything. But at this point, it's kind of like you can't be the victim anymore. You can't say, oh, why do the cops keep on coming and try to shut us down? Like, what do we do wrong to anybody? All we do is smoke weed inside the place and have naked guys running around. At that point, you really got to stop and re-examine and say, hey, you know what?
Sounds like a Roman orgy more than a concert.
It was something. I'm not sure if lions or tigers were going to jump out of places. Yeah, I didn't speak.
But you also told me that the whole place, even when there's no show, it's still a creepy vibe about this place.
It is.
It's like a Manson vibe.
Well, in the basement it is. Oh, the basement has. After we played there, I have said that I never want to go back into that basement again, and I have not gone into the basement. It is one of the. I'm not claustrophobic, but at that point I was. And the more I started talking about it, the more I got freaked out. How
did you get to go into the basement?
The very first show we played in the basement. I guess they used to do shows only in the basement.
That's right there is just creepy. Why would you go ahead and do a basement concert?
Well,
Is that where they had the sacrificial altars and stuff, or what?
No, it does look very creepy. They got candles and stuff. Well, I played in a basement before, but that one was like a cool basement. Like it was like turned into like a little tiny club and stuff. Babylon is actually a huge basement. They actually have a service elevator that takes all your equipment down. But this place, the pillars that hold up the ceiling, some of them are makeshift. Like the old ones have already rotted and completely fallen apart. And they put like slabs of like, I think it's books and stuff, or like pieces of like cement that hold up these pillars. So there's a sign that somebody put, and it's kind of like, jocular. It says, don't pit, you will kill us all. But at the same time, like we overheard people that, kind of like do things there. They're like, yeah, I think if you really knock one of those things down, this place will cave in. We might die. So there have been a lot of times where I'm kind of standing on the top, and you can feel that it's hollow underneath, and I'm like, man, this is gonna cave in one day. I just hope I'm on the outskirts when this happens.
Yeah.
So it is very creepy. This place. In fact, if that guy was naked in the basement, that would have been the last straw. I think I would have just taken. I don't even know what I would have done. I would have been really freaked out at that point.
And then at that time they locked the doors.
Yeah, I know. That's it. Yeah. And then I realized
leather mask comes out, and then.
The whole time I realized I'm not even turning the knob. I'm just trying to like push it open. Like, why can't I get out?
So this band Crazy Marbles went from Crazy Marbles to showing their
Creepy.
marbles. It was Creepy Marbles from showing their marbles.
No, they still were creepy. No, their marbles were definitely creepy. I don't think they had that many marbles. I think they weren't all there.
One of them was showing you guys his marbles.
Yeah, and the other ones were a few marbles short. So anyways, that was my experience last week at C.A.F.E in full shop. And
it'd probably be your last time playing there?
No, we do have some shows set up there, but I think we have said that we'll try to be a lot more selective.
You cross your fingers that place concaves in before your shows are set up, right?
Maybe. There's something definitely happens. We're going to have 2 more shows there, and they're going to be really large shows, so I'm not scared of those because there's going to be like 8-10 bands, and these are shows that will definitely have a lot of people. One of the shows should exceed 100 people. It's going to be the Doll Hair Fest, they call it. They've done already 2 Doll Hair Fests at Bell Tower. Each one had over 100 people. The second Doll Hair Fest is what shut the Bell Tower down. Someone called the cops. I don't know if it was the noise or what.
Where was the Bell Tower located at?
On Belmont Avenue. It was on East Belmont. It's right underneath the underpass by Weber. It's also a bad side of town, you know. There's not as many bums and stuff, but like where all the main factories for like La Tapatía, the tortillas, okay, it's right there. And so Producer's Milk, it's right there also.
Was it a big venue or what is it?
No, actually it was a house, probably about this size, and they turned it into a club. It was a house. It was a house that they turned into a club. The living room is where we played.
So how would you get permits for that?
I don't know. I think that's why they got shut down. Because they did not have permits. I know that there was a bunch of HAL things, right? I mean, anytime you want to open a business, you have to go through with like the fire marshals and stuff, and they never did any of that. So finally the cops were like, hey, you know what, we're going to have a meeting. So they showed up and they were like, these are the things you need to get fixed before you can reopen. Well, I guess it's a long list, and I mean, they don't have funds, you know. I mean,
what would they get revenue for? Or how would they get revenue for any show?
The shows, but I mean, the shows themselves didn't make much. I mean, I'm talking about the one where they had over 100 people, but they charged $1. That's what it's called, Doll Hair Fest. So you get $100 for having all these bands and people. I mean, you still got to pay your electricity bill and the rent itself. So
it doesn't sound like a lot of smart people doing that.
Well, they do it because they want to do it. They want to try to, like, you know, have a place, and I can understand that, you know, because it's really hard.
But still, if you think you would still charge a little bit more and just say, hey, you know, this is what this money. If they show the proceeds, kind of thing.
You know what? They tried it, and a lot of people just won't buy it, like, because it's like punk venues, right? And the punk people are like, we're not paying more than $3. Like, they've tried charging, I think, like $8 on some of them when they get big bands to come through, and they're like, we're not going. And they just flat out, and then no one will show up. I mean, the only people you got there are the people that are in the bands and the people that work there, you know, and that's it. So in that case, you didn't make anything, and you still got to pay for the bands, like the ones that travel to at least go back home. You know, you try to give them some cut of something. So it has been, you know, a very like tough thing. So I don't know. That's my experience. I know I do a whole bunch of things. I mean, the other thing that I have done that's very positive is 2 weeks ago, I think. Oh, the day before. The day after the last podcast, we went to go record in the studio.
Oh, that's right. And for people that don't know, you took a camera, you took footage and that, and we're going to be piecing it together, the nice little documentary that'll be going onto the podcast website as well as our YouTube website. For people that don't know, no podcast, so nothing, just Screaming Rebels. And then for the official website, it's that www.screamingrebelspodcast@tk.
Yeah.
And
.tk.
I think people should know. I think we're expanding. We're becoming a little bit. We're trying to push the envelope of how much, broaden our horizon of things we can do, projects we can do with our podcast, and people that we get influenced by doing the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, this is an entertainment category. We definitely love films and music. I know Hector and I were talking about things in film, the future. We're like, hey, we need to get something done, especially music. So I know that we're going to be trying to have bands, which we've talked about before. It's getting closer now to it. I know we're really serious. We're probably going to have It'll Grow Back really soon, within the next couple of months. I've already talked to them. They're excited about it. You know, willing to help out. They're a great bunch of guys. You know, I was in the band before with them. You know, they're really cool guys. They're always willing to help out people, especially when it comes to like art and stuff.
So yeah, we'll be getting more interviews, and we're gonna start introducing more people as special guests on the show as well. Spice up the variety of people that we have conversations with.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think we started with Juan from
Yeah.
Kinship, and that was a total blast and interesting experience.
Yeah.
And I hope me and you kind of talked about it. He can be like the honorary guy. Anytime he wants to come by, he can come anytime and
but
share his thoughts.
only if he's popping pills.
Only if he's popping pills, because that's the only way we want Juan.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
we want pill popping.
unfortunately,
We want pill popping Juan.
Yeah, we don't want regular one. Yeah, he's got to drink some booze and pop some.
Yeah, we'll bring
painkillers.
some. Yeah,
Painkillers and
next one, if he ever comes, George wasn't a fan of the Bud Lights, or we'll spice it up a little bit. We'll find some premium beer.
You know, I went to a party the other day where I got drunk with Bud Light, and that's the first time I ever got drunk with Bud Light, and I was so sick.
That's the first time that you're Mexican.
I do not like Bud Light. I hate Bud Light. That was the first time, and this was after the podcast, and I can't even smell it.
You know what? My fear of all beers is, right?
What?
Corona. Corona beers.
And you telling me I'm Mexican?
No, hold on. Let me tell you the story.
Yeah.
I went to Southern California.
That's imported.
I went to Southern California, and I was hanging out with my cousins, and we were drinking Coronas.
Yeah.
And that's all we drank. I think we went through 5 cases of Corona, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And then I had to drive back.
Wow, was that in the 12 packs?
No.
Oh, okay.
You don't know my cousins.
Okay, so these are the 24 packs, right?
Yeah, one of my friends, Paul.
Okay, that's a lot, yeah.
One of my friends, Paul, I had the privilege to introduce him to my cousins, because one time they come to Pismo on Memorial Day to ride the quads in the sand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like, we'll come visit them, come see what it's like. And he's
The
like,
dunes, the sand dunes,
yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, my cousin's like, well, come over. We have beer, we have barbecue. You guys only live like 2 hours away, or an hour away,
Yeah.
so why don't you come and visit us? And I told my friend Paul, okay, let's go. And we get there, and he's like, man, they must really like their barbecue, because that's a lot of ice chest. And I was like, that's not full of ice. And he's like, what is? It's not full of meat. He's like, what is it? I'm like, that's just beer. My side of the family drinks a lot.
Yeah.
And so we were drinking and we passed out in the sun and everything else.
Did you get sunburned?
And then they brought other recreational stuff. I mean, they brought.
You guys were at Pismo?
We were at Pismo.
Oh, okay.
The cops would pass by, you just see smoke, and you see beer, and nobody said anything. And
Santa Cruz is kind of like that, but Pismo can be more strict.
And we were drinking, and all of a sudden we crash. And we wake up, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and it's dark, and you see the moon and everything else.
Yeah.
And we parked like a mile out because it's Memorial Day. And I was trying to wake up my cousins. And be like, hey, we need a ride back over there. Nobody would wake up. And I had my small son, my oldest son with us at that time, because my cousins and everything else. And then he went with his little cousins. They were riding the little quads and that. I was like, we got to get back. And we walked in the sand. We were kind of hungover already. It was like one of the worst experiences. But the Coronas, we were drinking, and I had to come back the next day from Southern California. It's a 3.5-hour drive. And the whole time, like, my pores smelled like Corona. It didn't even matter. I took a shower, it smelled like it, and I'm sitting in a car for 3 hours. I'd go take a piss, and it smelled like Corona. I would burp, and it smelled like Corona.
You should have just bottled it.
And that smell that odor was so foul to me. Like, to this day, if somebody offers me a Corona, I kind of go, oh.
Well, see, I guess in the Bud Light's defense, I was drinking whiskey at the same time. So that probably was the other part that made it really bad. Because the same thing happened with Tecate. I can't drink Tecate no more either, because I was drinking Jägermeister.
That's a strong Tecate. It has a real kind of bittery taste.
I was drinking Jägermeister with Tecate.
You weren't mixing both of them, were you?
I would take like a shot and then I'd drink a beer. And so before I knew it,
I told Crystal a while ago, I was like, you know what I'm really craving is Jaeger. And she's like, what is wrong with you? There's something wrong with you, because Jaeger is disgusting. I said, it's delicious.
I used to love Jaeger, I think, until that point. That was the only thing.
The interesting thing about Jaeger, though, is you ever drink Jaeger bombs? Have you ever had Jaeger bombs?
Yes.
And those are actually bad for your health.
Really? Why?
Because Jaeger is a downer, so it's a suppressor of neurons.
Yeah.
and Red Bulls and that are uppers of neurons.
Oh.
So you're confusing your nerves,
Yeah.
and your nerves basically shut down. That's why you get the wobbly legs, the leg pains, and when you wake up the next morning, it's because you're jacking up your nerves, because you're giving it an upper and a downer at the same time, so your body doesn't know how to react to it.
Well, I know a lot of people like drinking, they'll drink...
That and it gives you Jaegeria. I don't know if you ever experienced Jaegeria.
No, I haven't. I've heard of that, but I can never have that.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
That and Jaeger you drink enough of it, you can really black out.
Yeah.
Like, I've woken up in a bush. Oh, Jaeger. Jaeger's no joke.
That night was crazy because I only remember sections of the night from the Jaeger and the Tecate, and it was really bad.
I like to think of
The
Jaeger.
submarines are good. Have you ever had that?
Huh?
The submarines? You get a shot of Jaeger and you drop it in with your beer. Usually you pick like a dark beer, and then you drink it like that. So it's beer.
It's kind of like an Irish car bomb.
Yeah, but you use Jaeger
Instead of whiskey.
and they call it submarine, and that's actually really good.
I like to think of Jaeger as that sweet date that takes you out, not knowing that he's a rapist.
Yeah.
And then the next morning you wake up, I'm like, what the hell just happened?
So speaking of sweet dates with the rapist, we have a date here with zombies and stuff, like with The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
That's,
so Robert Kirkland's, is it Robert Kirkland?
Yes, Kirkman.
Robert Kirkman. And the series has become infamously famous by the A&E series called The Walking Dead, which is based on the comic book. Right now they're on season 2, going on season 3. If people haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. But I highly recommend the comic book first. And what's cool about the comic book is it's been out for so many years that they have these nice little hardcovers of each volume.
Yeah, you guys can see it. I'm showing it for whoever's on the YouTube.
Well, let's see who's on there.
Yeah, you can go ahead and take a look. And is this the same one that you said you ordered?
I ordered one that's like a leather-bound one.
Yeah, so you ordered the newest one. The newest ones. Well, I got this one. Now the sad part is, I'm a huge comic fan, and this probably isn't the best thing to be saying, but I've had this comic now. I don't know, maybe 2 years, this hardcover, this nice little trade, and I have not read it. So, yeah, so I have not done my homework, and I was going to read it before I came, but I wanted to read your Noel so I can bring it back to you. So I read that one.
Did you like the Noel?
I did. I thought it was very interesting. I didn't realize that Lee Bermejo wrote and like drew the whole thing. I thought he was only, once again, the penciler. So I was really happy. Not only that, but I really like that he did his own inking this time. Because when he did the Joker, did you ever read that one?
No.
Okay, so there's a comic, the Joker, Azzarello's the writer and Bermejo's the penciler. He's the inker for some of the pages, and the other one's Mick Gray. Now I like Mick Gray. He does really good inks on a lot of stuff. He usually does it for J.H. Williams III. So he did it like for Promethea and stuff. And he's really good, but you can see the difference in the inking on Joker. Like, when I'm turning pages, I'm like, why does this look so different? Well, when I look in the front, it actually tells you what pages Mick Gray did and which one Bermejo did. And it was a very big difference.
He has a very almost surreal look to his inking in the Noel.
You know what I loved about it was, it looks like he's wearing leather. Like, Catwoman looks like she's wearing leather. Like, you can tell, like, oh, she's wearing leather. Is it, like, everything else.
Who does that?
Yeah, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, she's wearing, vinyl. She's wearing some sort of shiny stuff. No, that looks like leather that she's wearing. He did a very great job. And of course, he didn't do the colors. I can't remember her name. It's like Barbara something that does the colors, and she did a very good job. So I did like that. But now I gotta read The Walking Dead.
Alright. And
Walking Dead is immensely popular.
The Walking Dead is the most popular thing right now, I think. And they even came out with a recent video game for the series as well.
I haven't bought it yet. My friend Martin Hernandez did, and he said that it's good. He's played the first episode. It's going to be 5 episodes long. Each episode is $5. If you buy the bundle pack and just buy all 5 episodes, it's $20. So that's something you can download if you have a PS3 or an Xbox 360. Of course.
And then in June, it's coming out actually for the Apple computers as
well. It is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. If you go to thewalkingdeadgame.com, it tells you of all the platforms it's actually going to come out on. And
that's interesting.
And Apple's actually going to be in it. I guess there's
one day it might be on Facebook. It'll be a Facebook app. And I'll be getting requests from Crystal.
And there's an Extreme bundle pack for $49.99. I don't know what that. I don't know.
Request. I'm tired of playing this game, Crystal.
Fine, I'll go and help you complete this mission. Yeah, Facebook has been getting a lot of app stuff, huh?
They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money on those. Don't be fooled. You know, all, like Plants vs. Zombies, there's another zombie game. Plants vs. Zombies is by PopCap.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most popular game they have other than Bejeweled.
And let's not forget, like, best video games on the franchise are probably the Resident Evil games for zombie games, Dead Rising, and what was the other one? Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is one of the shortest games, and it kind of fucking pissed me off. I like bought it in, and I guess I'm old school. I flipped that game in like 2 or 3 hours.
Wait, what's flip mean?
It means I went from beginning to end. I flipped that whole thing, bad boy on.
UrbanDictionary.com will take a...
I think I actually made that. I might actually copyright flipping games. I flipped that game quick.
So, well, everybody that I've talked to for Left 4 Dead anyways, they say that that's a game that you play with friends.
Online.
Yeah, it's a great...
It's
not
a
even online. You can play it, like, if you have 3 other guys in a room, that's a great multiplayer game, you know? All you're doing is going and running around and killing zombies.
Yeah.
And, you know, and another game, and you mentioned, what we were talking earlier, is the Call of Duty, the Black Ops.
Yeah, almost any game now you buy has a zombie pack, expansion pack you can buy online.
Well, it's not just that. The Black Ops game, it was... I mean, it's good, and everybody likes playing it, but what everybody always talks about is the zombies.
Yeah.
You know, and did you ever play zombies?
I played it once in a while with Crystal's brother. Steve's a hardcore fanatic about
Yeah, you did tell me
he
this.
told me about the perfection games and stuff like that. Where
you told me the zombie story. That was funny.
You can go level to level, gets harder and harder, and I guess you get more points by not getting killed, using creative ways of killing them. There's different things that you can rank up, right?
Yeah, and the way it goes is you earn points. So basically, in the beginning, you're stuck in a room, and zombies are trying to break into the room. So you have to board up the windows. Like, the zombies can break down the boards, and then you put the boards back up as soon as you kill them.
You know what's funny about that is it reminds me of like the Sims game. Like, remember like when you build buildings?
Sims. Oh, okay, though, yeah.
But every time you're putting the board, it's like it's like money coming down to your points. And I was like, it's funny that it's a freaking zombie game and everything's supposed to be taken seriously, but when you put in boards, it has like this little cheesy cash register.
Well, it doesn't take points; it gives you points. It's saying, you did a good job, because it's hard to put boards back because zombies are coming in.
Yeah.
So every time you get points, you get to unlock weapons and you unlock rooms. So you'll go to a different room, unlock the door, and take off.
And there's one where he's in the presidential suite, and I guess Kennedy's a zombie in there too, and he's just roaming around.
Oh, you know, I never heard about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one. Oh, okay. So.
And then I remember playing it with him, and then I got on top of the desk, and I guess the zombies couldn't figure out how to get on top of the desk, and I've got nudged off the desk, and I was pretty upset too.
Well, so somebody ended your streak.
Yeah, well, no, I totally suck at those games. My streak was like, I already died a couple times and regenerated.
Because you told me Steve had
like a perfect game. I guess he was up to level 50 and somebody nudged him. And he went to war with that guy.
If you don't know, level 50 is actually really, really high.
Yeah.
I remember my friends would say, they would come up to me and say, hey man, I got a level 25 last night, you know, or sometimes like, I got a level 35.
Well, the guy
and that's hard.
Invented, remember we had that Pippa Sopa one?
Oh yeah.
And he was, which is the guy that got convicted?
The one for the Mega Upload?
Mega Upload, that guy. He had the highest rank in zombie kills and Call of Duty kill shots, headshots, and everything.
I didn't know that.
He was like the top one for, I guess, a year.
Yeah.
Nobody could take him down.
Oh,
and when the cops arrested him, that was the one thing he worried about, was who was going to knock him out, because he wasn't there to play those games anymore. But I guess because he was so rich off the Mega Upload, he had like his whole living room was just like, he had TVs that he wrapped it around. And he put them together, like multiple TVs.
You know, I think that's insane, because Mega Upload is a torrent site that we talked about a while back. And a torrent site is where you can download free stuff. So if they download free stuff, how does he make revenue?
He was making revenue.
On what though?
I don't know.
And see, and
I think that's why
they were mad.
That's why they arrested him.
You know, that makes perfect sense for them to be so upset.
It could be the advertising. He could have been getting money from advertising.
See, because I would be upset too. Like, if I say, hey, why are you a millionaire when I'm the one who invented the software and you're giving it away for free?
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that guy, I just read in the news that he did get some of the stuff back. He got his car back. I can't remember what he had. I think he had like some nice.
Did he get his stats back for
I
the
didn't
days
see that.
he
I
was
didn't,
missing
no, I
from-
didn't even know that. That's why.
Yeah.
But he got some of his money back, so he can pay some expenses. So basically, they have fought for him to be out. So he's not in jail. He has like his car. He's got like a Mercedes Benz, whatever number.
So he's gonna be able to go back and.
He's got his computer back, I think, and then he got a few other things back. So he has part of his.
And his name's Mega Upload, I guess, or
Really?
Mega Uploader.
No.
Was his name? Yeah, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
but
not,
on the
Xbox
Live.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant his real name.
No, his
like who changes their name?
No, his username was like Mega Uploader, and so he was like the #1 in like the entire world.
You know, when you become a hardcore gamer, it's really interesting because people have those YouTube sites and stuff, and they'll have their username. And when people play games and stuff, because they know they're playing all the time, and when they get in there, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you!" Like, you know, it would be an honor to be like playing either against you or with you. Or
And the guy's like, "Oh, just shut the hell up and let's go kill these things already."
No, they get flattered. They really think it's cool. Like, I've been listening to the Rooster Teeth podcast. I have no idea what their gamer tags are, but people they will say the stories like, yeah, the other day I was playing this game and someone was like, "Oh man, you're from Rooster Teeth," and they're always amazed because they're like, "Well, I'm just I just do these little skit things. Like, I didn't think anybody would think I'm famous." So, anyways, that's the gaming part of Zombies.
So should we go into movies?
It is really famous. We want to go into movies is like endless almost. They release like a zombie movie every year, I think.
What would be your pick of the best zombie movie you've seen?
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead is actually one of my favorite movies.
So there you go.
But I'm gonna have to go with the 28 days and 28 weeks series.
You know what? I did not like the first one, and I think I stopped. I didn't watch any of the ones after that. I really didn't care for them.
I think it was what I liked about it wasn't the zombies more, but about the whole decivilization of what was going on and how that army decided to be that one structural point that was going to rebuild the city.
Yeah. Okay,
That was the kind of whole thing that I liked about the movie. And the second one was just interesting, that whole fucked up dad that leaves the wife to get eaten by zombies.
Oh, see, I didn't see the second one.
The different directors too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The first one was actually what's his name? Danny Boyle.
Yeah, I'll say it's someone famous.
Slumdog Millionaire.
I know. I
Yeah.
think that's weird that he was the first director.
And they're infected by this thing called rage, which
Yeah.
are getting monkeys, and they're I
Sounds
guess
like
it's
video
testosterone. Yeah, it was kind of really outlandish kind of way.
It was. I think that's why I didn't like it. I was like, well,
And it was like if they vomited on you or anything.
It's like The Walking Dead. Like you said, you like The Walking Dead. We always talk about spoilers. If you haven't seen The Walking Dead series, you might want to turn this off now. But I mean, you've already told me, and I mean, I have the comics. So I'm not scared of it. But what the virus is, like because that's what zombies. Okay, in the past, I guess we'll give a real quick backup info. Zombies actually comes from Haiti. You know, because the Haitians were the voodoo. Like doctors and stuff were said to bring people back to the dead. Hi, welcome to Screen Rebels Podcast, episode 14. This is the second part. We are not going to. We already finished editing what we needed to edit. So let me I'll tell you how this comes out. Oh, I heard the kids earlier.
Well, the kids upstairs.
Oh, is it the kids? Oh, that's right.
The kids outside.
Outside.
They're outside.
What the fuck, man? Is it the way I'm sitting or what? My leg hurts.
I don't know. I think I hear like a diesel truck or something. Oh no, it's the AC. You're gonna have to invest in one of those quiet ACs. Those they have in the hospital.
That's not the AC.
Then what am I hearing?
Hector's ass.
No, it's not. It's not my ass. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
We're talking about Haitians.
Okay, so we took a short little break real quick. We're right back with the podcast.
And in case you're wondering why he's laughing, I had a Charlie horse and I had to get up, so that's why we had a technical difficulty and my leg not functioning properly.
I wasn't sure why he had to get up. I just got up and he was pantomiming. Telling me, I got really
Leg
scared.
cramp.
It looked like he really was clenching it there, so I just said, well, let's just call it a break. So anyways, we're talking about Haitian and how they can bring people back from the dead, and that's where zombies originally came from. What I like now about zombies, I don't understand why people are so fascinated with zombies, but the theory has evolved, and zombies are known now to be a virus, an infection. And you know what I heard that especially is there's a man. What's his last? Oh, I know what it is. It has to be Brooks. Max Brooks.
Max Brooks, the son of Mel Brooks,
Yeah, Mel Brooks, the famous
comedian writer.
Yeah, if you remember the producers being really big a few years back on Broadway, it was a movie back in the 70s, and that's
A Mel Brooks movie.
a Mel Brooks film.
And if you
on
remember
Broadway.
Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs,
Spaceballs, those were all.
some Mel Brooks movies. They're very funny movies. You guys haven't seen them, I highly recommend.
Actually, Mel Brooks in Spaceballs is Yoda.
Yeah,
The Shorts will be with you.
the short one. And he's like a little geeky sheriff, I think, in Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
If anybody has not seen Blazing Saddles, that's one of probably the movies I would recommend. Oh, and he did The Meaning of Life.
The
Well,
Meaning of
no,
Life?
no,
No, that's
not
Albert Brooks. Now you're confusing him again.
No, is it The Meaning of Life?
I think I know what you're talking about, but that you're thinking Albert Brooks though.
It's not an Albert Brooks movie. It's a Mel Brooks movie. He's in it.
Are you talking about the one where he goes to this place like that's not heaven or hell? He dies.
No. I'm talking about it goes from the beginning of life.
Oh no, you're talking about the history of the world, part 1 and 2.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
I thought it was The Meaning of Life.
The meaning? No, why would it be the meaning of life? It's the history. You even said the history. It goes from the beginning to the end.
You know what? Because of this technological age we're on, let's go ahead and see Mel Brooks and see what the hell the name of that book is.
But
A movie.
so anyways, his son. Well, Hector looks this up real quick. Why don't you just go to IMDb? It'll just take forever. All right, so his son Max Brooks is actually really into zombies and has wrote really famous zombie books. I think it's called. What's the name of the book called? Something A, like the A factor. We will look that up too, because I can't remember off the top of my head. The only reason why I remember is because
It's a survival guide to zombies. It's I don't remember what it's
he writes those cheesy survival guides.
World War Z.
Yeah, that's it. It is. It's World War Z. No, he's very serious when he writes these. They're not cheesy stuff. He really writes about where he thinks zombies comes from and what they are, and and what
The
it's
History
like.
of the World Part 1 and 2. He was right. And he made Spaceball, Life Stinks, Robin Hood Men in Tights, 12 Chairs, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. What I was saying,
Yeah.
that's Gene Wilder in that movie. And so with Blazing Saddles is Gene Wilder.
Yes. And so in the producers, he really likes Gene Wilder, but Gene Wilder was at his prime at that point too. Silent movie is also very good. I actually read the book for that. It is what it says. It's a silent movie. So anyways, that's the father, but the son is Max Brooks, and he writes for zombies. And the way I came across him is last year, I love watching The Deadliest Warrior. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw when he was doing zombies versus vampires.
That's
was it?
right. And they had to call 2 specialists. So the specialist for zombies was Max Brooks, and the specialist for vampires was Steve Niles. And Steve Niles is the writer of 30 Days of Nights.
Oh, yeah.
So and I was very excited about that because I was like, ooh, Steve Niles is there. So I think I wrote to his Twitter or something like, hey man, like you did a good job.
He never responded, did he?
No, he's really nice. He will. He's
Cool.
He's a very nice writer. If you write good things or ask questions, he's one of the people that interacts a lot with his fans. He's always on Twitter, always posts. Very humorous stuff. I like following him.
The first book is called The Zombie Survival Guide.
Oh, it is
Right.
a survival guide.
And then the second book he wrote was World War Z, The Oral History of Zombie Warfare, or War. And I guess I know that Brad Pitt, and it says right here, Brad Pitt's going to be coming out in World War Z, which is a book.
Yeah, I knew that they wanted to do something with that for a while. So he is a zombie specialist. If you
He gave himself that title though, right? Because I actually had I never bought the books, but there was that free download, audiobooks, free download. You know how you get to download. And I downloaded the first
If you
one.
register with them, you get a free download, right?
Yeah, and I registered and I heard the first one, and it's a survival guide. They're like, page 1. So you meet a zombie. How do you go ahead and destroy it? Well, first of all, you have to understand that.
That cheesy survival guide that you see, like when Tower Records used to be open all over Tower Records and the warehouse, that was his?
I guess. And
I do remember that one, and it had pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so you have to bludgeon it right at the cerebral cortex, and it has like little. I guess the book has like little arrows of where to hit them and stuff like that. So that was the first book, and then he did World War Z, which I'm not sure. Well, how is World War Z if it's a graphic novel because they're making a movie out of it?
No, it wasn't. It was World War Z is a full length like novel. Like that was supposed to be one of his like the book, you know, where he put a lot more time and effort into it, and that's why he became a
I don't know,
specialist.
even a survivalist book.
I know,
That's a lot of detail.
That does, I don't know, but the survival
Because what's cool about it, and I listened to the whole thing. What's cool about it is that
because that was part of the series of the whole, like, you know, how to survive falling out of an airplane.
yeah,
You know,
and that was the whole thing.
so
He
dumb.
said how to survive an zombie invasion if you're not military equipped. So he was showing you how to make stuff in your home to protect yourself.
So basically, he just did the anarchist cookbook and
And turn into a zombie
Yeah.
theory. That's basically.
Well, you know, that's just crazy. I can't believe.
So, like we said, it was a virus, and that's how they.
You'd probably find that book at Urban Outfitters now, because that's so trendy and hipster. With your three,
I think we're
three
gonna. I
socks.
think we're gonna have a podcast about
we're
hipsters.
gonna buy socks that are just 3, not pairs, not 3 pairs, just 3 socks. A package. You can buy packages of 3 socks.
3
now.
different socks.
I think you can get those at Urban Outfitters. Yeah, because it's cool to wear different colored socks. Anyways, that's besides the point. Those
That's
are
called color blindness and laziness.
yeah, but they
Or
it's
no,
cool to
no,
do that.
or no laundry.
No laundry.
It's not laundry day.
No, it's not.
No laundry day. We gotta mix match socks.
Yeah.
And it's not like, hey, I'm going to the club. What to wear? I think I'll wear a green one and a red one. Because it's Cinco de Mayo. And then my chonies will be white. White chonies. So red, white. Yeah, see?
So they got the whole color.
I guess I'm a
back on
hipster
there.
right now, right?
Oh.
Because
But you got matching color socks.
I like black socks.
Yeah, the crystal door. But anyways, we're going into now the zombies though. That's why you really thought it was fascinating because of the infection part.
Okay, yeah. My whole theory with it, and I talked to George earlier about it, is my whole thing is I think that zombies were people who had an infection at one time and people really did not know what to call it. And there's actually a disease called Kuru, which Kuru is a rare disease. It says on here. I did a little note, some notes. Basically, what Kuru is in Papua New Guinea. There's these small pygmy tribes, and these pygmy tribes have a practice of cannibalism, and so they'll eat other people. And one of their delicacies is the heart and the brain. Brain not cooked right and raw can cause the infections of protein called purons that'll be released inside the brain of the person who's consuming it, and they end up getting this thing called Kuru, which is
So they're eating people's brains though,
they're eating people's brains.
and they have to be cooked right.
I think it's a cooking process,
So
or
you're-
they could
so-
be infected already.
So like cannibal, like if he wants to eat somebody, does that mean that he uses a meat thermometer?
He might have to use the meat thermometer, but Papua New Guinea, they fucking throw it in the fucking fire. they don't have a kitchen. There's no kitchen. So they're tying them on a fucking banana tree and splitting them open.
Yeah, well, that's pretty crazy.
But yeah, the cannibalism, I think, here's my theory, and I think people would agree with me.
I think I saw something of cannibalism a long time ago. Not
And they're
I
all
forgot about this.
shaking, and the violence shakes, and they can't breathe.
Well,
And
it was this video I rented from at the time we had a local video store, and I remember all these. Okay, so ours is called J&L, and everybody was talking about these Faces of Death video, and I was like, Faces of Death.
I don't remember those.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Faces of Death.
Is when we had the immature websites and nobody knew what the internet was, and all there was.
No, there was no internet really back then. Internet was still in its infancy.
Well, Faces of Death there was actually
Like '94 started.
yeah. Well, there was Traces of Death and Faces of Death.
Yeah.
Traces of Death was the website. You can go
Oh.
and you can watch people get they're like
killed like.
yeah, helicopter scene. A helicopter scene. They had the Twilight Zone. Remember the Twilight Zone movie?
Yeah.
There was a stunt and the guy fell in front of the helicopter blades.
Ooh.
And I guess they had the footage from that.
Yeah.
And people can go see
They
it.
had things like people would film trapeze artists, in the circus, and they
Yeah.
would fall and they would break their neck and die, and that's why. So I rented one time, and I thought I was getting because my friends were all like, that was like the rage in high school. Like, oh yeah, you got to check it out. So I rented this. I don't even remember what it was called, but when I watched it, I was like, I don't think this is what they watched, and I ended up getting one, and like at least 20 minutes of this thing was cannibalism. Like people were eating people.
Yeah.
Like it was like these anthropologists had went and they filmed it, and people were
Yeah.
cutting people up, and I was just like, what? This is so bizarre. Like they were just like someone had just finished dying, and it was It was
Yeah,
a
well,
crazy video.
in India, and that some people eat other people because they believe that they're being a part of them. If they eat it, they become a part of them.
Well, that's like the movie Ravenous.
So there's a lot of people that practice that, but these people, it's basically a trophy because they hunted this person, and this was from another tribe, and this and that. And so to be feared, they'd be like, well, not only do we kill you, but we fucking eat you. And that was like a fear theory.
Yeah,
and,
that is
then,
definitely
and
scary.
then the people ended
Like,
up...
I don't want to get eaten.
And the people ended up saying, you know, the meat tastes really sweet. Like, I was watching documentaries on YouTube, and the people, old people are like, oh, the sweetest meat is human meat. So we thrive to find human meat and eat it, and they were eating it and everything else. But what happens is...
Galaxy.
But what happens is that I don't think we're meant to eat each other.
How much do you think that goes on the black market?
I don't know. I don't want to mess with that shit.
Well, maybe Nick Diaz can start, instead of eating, you know, horse meat, can start eating
Oh, you're
human
talking over and All-Star. Over and All-Star. The other
Oh,
one. You're thinking Nick
sorry.
Diaz because I was talking about the triathlons.
Yeah,
today.
that's right. So that was...
Yeah, Nick Diaz Nate Diaz gave a great performance in the UFC today.
Yeah,
you finally saw submission.
Yes, I did.
And so, yeah, but
If that's what you want to call it. I just call it rolling around on the ground.
rolling around till somebody gets a neck, and that's no more fun.
Yeah, till one guy was basically like, "No, man, you're holding on to me too
Tap
tight.
tap 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 tap. No more.
I'm tired of your sweaty body on top of me.
Okay,
Get off of me."
that's enough of that.
So-
I like the sport. All right.
whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your pickle. So, anyways, yeah, we're not supposed to eat each other.
Yeah.
We're not supposed, and a factor of that is because like cows, mad cow disease, you know,
Is because they're feeding them proteins and marrow from the other cows.
and that was crazy because what ended up happening was, you know, you had all these places, and especially was in Europe. They didn't know what was going to happen. All they knew was that they had dead cows, and what better way to, you know.
Well, actually,
How did it go?
they thought it was cats at first because they found one cat who was shivering uncontrollably. You lose muscular. The first thing that happens is leg pains, joint pains, and that, and then you have an uncontrollable tremors, and you can't stop the tremors. You only actually live 6 months after you get. There's no cure. It's because what happens.
People would get it
What
too,
happens
though.
is like the protein strains get inside your brain, and they start eating your brain from the inside out, and so your brain basically becomes Swiss cheese.
But so can you still walk around? And
No, they're laying down. Usually people end up dying. They're laying down, and they can't control their muscles.
Is it
because
kind of
the
like
brain.
when you get a cockroach and then you spray it with Raid and then it kills off the nerve endings and they just twitch there for like 5 minutes and then they finally die?
Yeah, but what's happening with them is that their brain's getting eaten alive, basically, and so
Well,
it becomes like Swiss cheese.
Because you know that's how Raid works, right?
Yeah.
It affects their neurotransmitters. So when you spray it on them, it actually blocks the neurotransmitters in their spinal cords and stuff, and that's the reason why they can't control their
They're twitching.
Yeah, they start twitching and stuff.
So we're giving them a form of Kuru.
Yeah, yes we are. Well, I thought that you were thinking that Kuru was very close to zombies because they ate their brain, but they still walked around.
Well, no, the thing is that the people with Kuru violently shake uncontrollably. They walk, they stumble, and they moan a lot, just like zombies.
So they do kind of stumble and stuff.
Yeah.
So if your brain is being eaten, this is a question, do you feel the need to eat other people's brains to bring yours back? It's like you start creating brains.
See, I don't know because that.
Oh, they can't talk to them, huh?
Yeah, they can't
They
talk
can't
to
interview them. It's not like, all
Yeah,
right.
they can't. No, they can't talk.
Can you tell me now how you're feeling?
Brain.
There you have it, folks. People who are infected with Kuru do in fact want brains. That's kind of funny because I know when I used to babysit my nephew, I used to play zombies with him. And the way we played zombies basically was we just walked around the house going brains, brains.
And now with the introduction of 26 days later, you just don't walk, brains you peel out and start running after them.
He never understood you had to walk slow. He used to go really fast. But he thought it was the funniest thing. You know, we'd walk around the house going brains, you know, and to mom and dad going and trying to eat their brains. He had no idea. So I'm not sure. Oh.
It's a complete mystery.
But this obscure disease, found deep within these jungles.
I'm gonna steal a little segment of Joe Rogan and just play some YouTube.
For understanding two of the world's most frightening diseases.
That's
mad cow
see?
disease,
Oh, yeah.
and human form, variant CJD.
Oh, so that's what happened
now
with
the
the
outbreak of variant CJD is very closely entwined with Kuru. And although now we're looking at the
And they almost have that zombie appearance when they get Kuru. That vague stare. And they also
It's a
say
medical detective story.
they also say they get the gray pigmentation in their eyes when they get it, so they look dead already.
Oh, right there. She just said human flesh tastes
So
sweet.
good, yeah. The meat underneath is very sweet meat, she says.
How can they cater to that? Oh, sea sorcery.
And one that is far from over. And who could believe that 50
There is
or more
beginning?
years after
Yeah,
Kuru
Papua New Guinea.
investigations,
Now that's
we'd
over there
still be
by.
looking for cases.
Is that the?
Next to Old Guinea is New Guinea.
Yeah, thanks. You're gonna help me there. You're knocking me dead, Hector. Isn't that over there by like New Zealand? Is that what I'm thinking? Am I in the right area?
Yeah, New Zealand.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I was
Well, I'm
trying
just-
to find the one where the
I'm just
guy.
saying because it's completely distinct from Haiti. Because Haiti's, you know.
Yeah, look, there you go. That's what I was trying to show you, George. That's Kuru. That's uncontrollable tremors, and see, they're not. They can't control their body. This is like the end stages of Kuru when they can't even get up anymore.
So we are on YouTube, and then we just searched Kuru just to see what it looks
Human
like.
Kuru.
Yeah, and then man, I didn't know that. I mean, you can basically search almost anything on
See?
YouTube.
Like uncontrollable twitching
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then they had that vague stare, just like zombies.
Yeah, he's definitely not there, or she. They're gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that it does sound like very much. The crazy part is, so if you eat a cow that is infected with mad cow disease, you get it too. Then
You don't get mad cow disease.
You get
Mad
what?
cows only get mad cow disease. You get that Epson Jacob. Let me see if I can pronounce it. I can't pronounce it right.
It's all right.
It
forgive
is
you.
called. Where is it at? It is Kuru.
You only got 3 pages this time.
Yeah. Well, I just highlighted it that way we would know what we're talking about.
Okay, so if you eat, so what we're saying is if you eat a cow that's infected with mad cow disease, you get something else.
Yeah, you get something else. You get the human version of it, and it's called Jacob Creutzfeldt disease, and it's known by that guy. But what you're transferring is spongiform encephalopathy, and then I don't think.
I don't know, yeah, I thought you were just doing zombie talk. Is that not?
And the mad cows, what they call it, is the bovine spongiform.
Oh, that's right, bovine.
So there's 2 different, but you can contract the bovine one, and then you'll get the Jacobs one.
Now wait, bovine is a hormone, right?
Bovine is the species.
Alright, for some reason I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah,
What-
bovines. Bovines are cows.
Yeah,
I
is that
think
what
it's
it is?
the
Is that
fancy
just
way to
the
say
fancy
cow.
way? Alright. I thought it was heifer. Heifer's a type of cow, right?
Heifer is a boy cow that can impregnate other cows.
Oh, you know your cows.
I do know my cows. Those are Jersey cows, there's Angus, there's limousines, there's Brahmas.
Well, I'm glad this way. So you're right. So anytime I decided that I want to go back and eat meat, I'll definitely say, hey, you need to show me some of these fancy cows that you're always talking about.
I'd be like, can we get the bovine
Well, I don't want that one.
But the reason that we decided to do this one is that we were talking about mad cow disease, and recently Tulare County had 2 cows that came up positive for mad cow disease.
So is there another way to get mad cow disease besides eating cows?
No, they have to eat other cows. That's the only way. So somebody has started feeding them that protein again to the cow. I don't know if it's sanctioned, or I don't know how that works, but the unethical part of feeding another cow a cow to have cheap filler.
I looked up bovine, and I guess I got bovine, but it's spelled a little bit differently. We're going to go to our number 1 info section, Wikipedia, even though they're probably the worst. It says it's a subfamily, and it includes a diverse group of 10
domestic cattle.
Yeah, and one of them is domestic cattle. The other ones are bison, yak, buffalo.
Yeah, they're all related.
African buffalo. Yeah, they're all antelopes. Antelopes. I didn't know antelopes are related to them. They're also considered bovines. So, well, do you think though in Tulare County that it's possible that I mean, because we've talked about this on another podcast with the food and stuff. I mean, and we know that how bad and dirty it is. Is it possible that a cow died and that they didn't notice it, you know, for like a couple of days and the cows just started eating it? Because it's not like they're walking around in grass. The disc is too slow. So where did it even stop?
I don't even know.
It stopped on your YouTube. Well, at least you got your video and that's blinking, so that means we gotta wrap that up.
Where do we stop at?
Right at the YouTube where we said human flesh is sweet.